Okay, time to debunk this idea of motherly unconditional love and that women sacrifice for their children. In this case, it's a mother who wins a court case to evict her two sons in their 40s. She calls them parasites. And I'm going to use that in this article where a stay-at-home mom admits that she hates being a parent in this heartbreaking confession. It's not heartbreaking. It's just she hates looking in the mirror and what she actually is. Now, we'll start off with this one first, right? By the way, her sons, they both work for a living, right? So all she has to do is demand some income from them, right? She just wants them out. A mother's love does have limits, it seems. It doesn't exist, for one thing, CNN, at least for a 75-year-old woman in northern Italy, the city of Pavia, right? Who won a court order after suing her sons, age 40 and 42, removed from her house. Right. The two sons described in the court papers by their mothers as parasites. Now, this woman was no doubt a housewife leech. So she parasited off her husband, who she got rid of, by the way. She parasited him off him through her adult life, but she's not going to do the same for her sons, right? She'd been living in the family apartment without contributing financially or helping around the house. If they're working for a living, they shouldn't help around the house. I mean, that's her job, right? So this is resentment. This woman, when she boots these guys out, will still have to do her own laundry, right? So she just doesn't want to add theirs to it, make life easier for them, right? According to the complaint filed by the woman who has not been named, if she's so in the right, how come she's not named, right? She's not named because she's obviously a scumbag and she knows it. Both men are employed. There you go, right? Judge Simona sided with the retired mother. They always do. Who is separated from the men's father. See, so the father's still alive. She hit retirement age and she booted him out. She said, I don't need him anymore. And now she's saying it to her sons, and whose pension went entirely on food and maintenance of the home, ruling that the two Baccioni, or big babies, have until December 18th to get out, right? There's no provision in the legislation which attributes to adult children unconditional right to remain in the home exclusively. Well, that's true, right? Against her will and by virtue of the family bond alone. Well, there's no family bond there, is there? This woman used her husband, and since she can't get any use out of her son, she's booting them out. This is what they do. This is what women are. This is what motherhood really is. Look, the men who hired lawyers to fight the maternal eviction argued that the Italian parents were required by law to take care of their children as long as necessary. So first they say there's nothing in the that says they have to, right? There's no provision, right? And then they argue that it's by law. So it's probably a strong tradition that has been ditched. Ever notice that traditions are so important until it works against women? And then they ditch those traditions, right? So this woman was a traditional housewife leech when she was parasiting off the boy's father. But all of a sudden that tradition gets thrown in the trash once she has to sacrifice, right? And why these men are actually spending good money to fight this. So know what this means to me? It means there's probably nowhere for them to go. Like what goes unsaid, guys, is that in these cities, even if you have an income, there may not be any places to rent, right? There may not be any place to rent. And once you don't have a home, your job goes with you, right? So the mother just doesn't give a shit about these guys. And she could live very easily. Can imagine if she just demanded money from them. She could be living. So she just doesn't want them around. She then ruled that it no longer appears justifiable concerning the two adults subjects are 40, over 40, and once a certain age has been exceeded, etc., etc. That's true, but we can all see what's going on here, can't we? This woman leached off the men in her family forever, and now she's not going to do the same. This is not the first time mammoni, an Italian term used to describe adult men, not women, by the way, who are too dependent on their mothers. These guys weren't dependent on their mothers. They're working men, right? They hired their own lawyers. So what it is, notice there's no word for adult women with their mothers. And it's not because the women in Italy are all mature and they all leave the house, right? No, it's just that the parents are willing to look after adult women. And these adult women, if they really hate their parents, find some sucker male, like this mother did, to look after them, right? Now look at this. In 2020, Italy's Supreme Court ruled against a 35-year-old man who worked as a part-time music teacher who still expected financial support from his parents after he argued that he could not support himself on his 20,000 euros. Now, I don't know his particular case, but it simply could be that he just can't, he's underemployed and he just can't find full-time work, right? He probably doesn't want to stop being a music teacher, right? So he gets support from his parents. And they say, tough luck. Who cares about what your dreams are? You know, easy mode is for your sister, not you. Now look, on average, Italians leave their parental home on the average age of 30. And Croatia is even higher, 33. So it's obvious that it takes a long time for people to build up enough equity to become independent in these poorer countries. Look, by contrast, in Finland, Sweden, and Denmark, they start life average age of 21. So do you think it's a big cultural shift between the two groups of countries? No. Obviously, Italy and Croatia, it's harder to earn money. And it's easier to do it in Northern Europe. Okay. So now that we got that beat, let's get into this stay-at-home mom who admits she hates being a parent. And again, this isn't a heartbreaking confession. She's confessing it and getting validation from it. Trust me. Trust me. Motherhood is often portrayed as the most magical thing a woman can do. Yeah, it's propagandized because it's a way of women not have to work for a living, right? But this woman actually did have to work, take care of her child. She hated that. But what if the truth is different than what you expect it to be? And what makes you feel like it's a dirty little secret? Well, it is a dirty little secret that women tell men. To say, you know, I love being a mother, go work for me. That's a horrifying realization that one woman came to after not acknowledging that deep down she honestly doesn't actually like being a mom, but also being brave enough to confess it online. It takes no courage for her. I've seen women confess all kinds of shit online and they get validation. They get support. And she's going to get support from women because the average woman feels the exact same way as she does. Although she loves her kid, her reality is that she's not loved being a mother. She doesn't love her children. If she actually loved this kid, she'd adore having her around, right? Now, my husband and I have one child. Oh, wow, one child, a 2-year-old girl. And while I can honestly say that I do love her, I really hate being a mom. This is a lie. You don't love her. I will admit this is better than when she was brand new, but I still hate it. Yeah, she hates having to do any work at all. I hate the immense responsibility. I hate that all she wants me to do is take up time. This isn't an immense responsibility. Because, like I said, that's why isn't there a bunch of house husbands running around, right? They could switch up and say, hey, you be house husband, because it isn't. It's a lie. She hates having to sacrifice anything in her life. I do my best to be a good mom. No, you don't. We spend a time together since I am mostly at stay-at-home mom, not by choice, and it may be changing soon, hopefully. Yes, it was by choice. It just didn't pan out the way she thought. She thought it was going to be an easy breeze gig entirely. Obviously, what it is, the work she can get isn't enough to pay for childcare, right? That's what's going on. We play ahead to her. We spend a lot of time outside. I try and teach her stuff and really be present, but I hate it. Okay, so you hate this kid. You can't stand them. I look forward to her going to her naps. I can't wait until she goes to bed at night so I can have time away from her. Yeah, that's love. That's love, everyone. I love her, but I don't love her. I wish I knew what it would actually, I wish I knew what it would actually like to be a parent before I decided to get pregnant. I miss my old life. I miss just going out. I miss being able to pick up shifts at work whenever because I didn't have to worry about childcare. Yeah, you know what? This guy here, this was part-time, right? And it wasn't good enough for his parents. This woman was no doubt working part-time. And all the money was probably hers to spend. And her husband was working to support the two of them, right? I hear it gets better and has to an extent. My friends all comment how sad they are that their kids are growing up, but I haven't felt this is going to be a lie too, because women are going to get, well, guess what? Confess the same thing to her later on in this article. I relish each additional piece of independence she gains. Yeah, she's glad this kid is growing up and getting out of her hair, right? And motherhood isn't what she expected, duh, right? As a stay-at-home mom shared on Reddit, see, they go to Reddit, tell their stories, and get support. She missed the sense of freedom she had before she became a mother, right? The mom swears that she tries to be a good parent. Yeah, we read that. I wish you knew what it would actually be like. Okay. We are not having any more children. Notice that. The woman decides if she's going to be pregnant or not. She decides whether they're going to have children or not. And the father has no choice, right? In large part due to my realizing that I actually hate motherhood. I think this is the best decision. I would actually go crazy if we had another. Now, thankfully, my husband is on board with this. They're acting like this is a luck of the draw. He has no choice. He has what I tell you guys about guys who go on about, like, I want a woman who has children. Men want to be with the woman. The children don't even matter. No matter how much a man says he wants children, all of a sudden this woman decides she's not going to have any more, and he goes, yes, dear, right? But I see people getting pregnant and having their second and third kids, and I wonder what I'm doing wrong and why I hate it so much. She doesn't actually give a shit about the children. She's looking at what other women do and say, these what other women do, I have to do the same thing. That's what she cares about. She cares about what her friends are doing and saying. I'm not sure what I hope to get out of this post. Yes, she is. She's lying here. She's going on this, she's making this post to get validation for her choices. And she does get it. I guess I'm hoping I'm not the only one who regrets having to become a parent. That's what it is. She's going on to get support for her shitty behavior, her selfishness. Luckily, your husband is on board. Yeah, of course. He has no choice again, right? Now, is there anything else? Yes. Much to mom's surprise, other mothers readily admitted that motherhood is much more difficult than the advantage. Exactly. So she got support for her selfish behavior. One person shared the one way that helped them move past their own feelings of hating being a parent. I had someone tell me that I should give up trying to create my new life as before. Right. I love my kid, but I hate being a mom. No, you hate your child. Right. I realized that I started realizing that I don't dislike being around my son as much anymore. I thought she hates being around her son. I finally started to embrace the idea of a new chapter and stop trying to go back to how it was, right? Another person was stunned the Ma had admitted her own feelings. Yeah, I could have written this myself. See, this is what mothers actually feel. This is what women actually feel. They find some sucker man to be a husband. They get a child to, because other women are doing it, and it's leverage to use over her man. And she figures it's going to be the easy route out because she doesn't want to work for a living. And guess what? She had to be, put some kind of work in. It's nice to see I'm not the only one that feels this way. Maybe I'm not such a big a piece of shit as I thought. No, you are a piece of shit. You made your life choices to leech off a man and have children to use to leech off him. And now you can't stand these little people. You don't have any love for them and you don't want to admit it. Other parents tried to convince the mom that even though she feels this way now, things will definitely get better. Yeah, whatever. We've heard enough. We've heard these grown women who get rid of their husbands in retirement age and they get rid of their sons. Even though they could force these sons to pay their fair share, what she really wants them is gone. And then we have this woman who admits she hates being a mother. And guess what? A lot of women admitted the exact same thing. They got into parenthood because they were leeching off a man. And now the resentment that they actually have to look after another person, to have some kind of form of responsibility. Right. This woman hates looking after a child. She could switch with her husband, couldn't she? If it's such a big responsibility, just switch with him. Say, hey, you look after this little girl, and I'll go out and work 40 hours a week. She doesn't want that. So it's not a big responsibility. It just is a responsibility. And the scumbag woman doesn't want to deal with it. So I hope we finally killed this idea of motherhood.